All right, folks. Hey, so here is the Patreon lighting tutorial, the first photography lighting tutorial that I'm doing for my Patreon members. The image on the left is the one I did on the Instagram Live for Patreon, and where I go through and I set up all the lights and everything in this video. The beginning might be a little bit dry, but it's, you know, it's important. It's part of the process. I ramble a little bit, and then I set up each light, and then later I modify each light, and then we take the shot. It kind of builds on itself. So at any rate, camera right is a variation of the shot I did after I did the Patreon shot. Both are great. I love these Mythic Legions figures. They're awesome. If you like this kind of thing, follow me on Instagram and Patreon. Take care. Let me turn my trigger on. Let me just see where the light is falling on there. Yeah, that's cool. That's fine for now. We'll make some little adjustments to it. Okay, so I got the main light set up on there, and next thing I want to do is I want to start thinking about what's important in this shot, what I want you know, you to see. I want you to see the story. I want you to see, you know, obviously connect with the figures and the action. And we're outside in some fallen ruins, so, you know, the next thing I want to set up here is probably going to be something that gives me a color tint to the scene, sort of a early morning, you know, early, you know, real late blue hour, like maybe right before the sun comes up, kind of bluish tint to it. And so I'll do that. I'm going to do that with, where's my light? Oh, I've got, where's my lume cube panel? Oh, here it is. So I'm going to use for this, I'm going to use a RGB panel from Lume Cube. So now to set the color temp, remember the softbox is just setting the ambient light. It has nothing to do with really with the color temp or anything like that I'm after right now. It's just setting the overall light for the scene. This is what's going to give me my color temp. So, and then what I'll do is I'm just going to turn it on real quick and set it to a blue. I think sort of matches what's going on the TV screen. And I'm not really too worried about the, no, we don't want it green. Probably about right in there. Not too worried about the power level yet. We're going to worry about the power level when I decide what my exposure, my shutter speed is going to be, and that's going to depend on a couple different things. We'll get to that point when I do it. But so here we are. If you can kind of see, I'll turn my modeling light on and I'll show you. So the purpose of you might say, well, if you're using the Lume Cube, why do you need a flash? Well, the Lume Cube is shining just blue light on there, and it's going to affect the skin tones. Everything is going to be flooded in blue. We don't want that. That's not how it looks in real life. So the flash will come on, and now you can see sort of with the modeling light how the white light from the flash cuts this blue down, so it adds some color back to the shadows and the highlights, and it's not just straight on blue. So that's the important thing about how the flash and the Lume Cube, in this case here, work together to create a light and a color temp that is important. So so we want to put a little light down here for Hellfire Goblin. Now, one thing I need to see, I'm going to look through my camera real quick, and I want to see how far down I can see the floor, because I might put a piece of aluminum foil under him. So I'm looking through my camera right now to kind of determine if I can see, and I can see enough of the floor that the aluminum foil is not going to be the option for the ground right there. So let me get another one of the. Let's see. I've got 1, 2. Where's my other? Where's my other clamp? Let me grab this clamp over here. You know, just when you think you have enough clamps, you need to go and order 5 more. You never have enough, I tell you, man. So what I'll do, and you'll see, this is totally, you know, I'm going to use it again here. You know, the small rig clamp, and these are just phenomenal, man. They're so strong. They're so versatile. I mean, I totally dig them. And I think I will mount this. My other stand is in my closet. So what I'll do is I'll probably, if you can see over here, I'll mount this also on my C-stand. I just got to get it over enough to where I can put a little reflector here and get it so it's not in frame. Here's the lens. I don't know if you guys can see this. Here's the lens, but we can get him about right in here, and I can just reflected light is always better, but softer, but not better, but softer. But we'll see here in a minute. I don't know if you can see that or not. Did I put the look at my mess. Oh my god. That I put the small rig here on the C-stand, and that's why these are so popular, or not popular, but they're, for me, they're so useful because I can just put everything that I need right on the C-stand and then maneuver it around on here, and it makes it really nice. So I know, Deadman, you'd asked me one time about how I fixed lights and reflectors to stuff. This is one way that I do it, man. I've been usually using foil for my shots since you gave me that trick on Masha. Works wonders for darker skin figures. Yeah, no doubt, Sketches. You know, those foil is great, and it's super brilliant, and it's reflected light, so it's softer, you know, than putting the light right on them, putting it under the figure. I would do that here in this case, but like you saw me check in the composition, there's the foil would be visible, so then I have to, you know, the workaround is to put a light on the figure here, and on the small rig here. Let me back this up just a little bit so it can kind of get a view for my video, my Patreon. And I think I was talking to Deadman one day, and he asked me about something about batteries and lume cubes or something going dead. One thing that I use also, I'll share with you real quick, is I use battery banks. So battery banks for GoPros, battery banks for lume cubes if I think they're going to die. You know, and battery banks are great. They're you know, they're not that bad in price. I mean, and you can hook a USB hub into them and run a couple lume cubes or whatever you want, you know. So let's just take a look real quick. I'm not gonna want an orange. This has an orange gel in it from yesterday's shot. I'm not gonna want an orange gel in there because he's red and this is orange, and that's just gonna be a disaster. So we don't want that. And what I'm probably gonna do is well, let's just set up the lights first and then I'll modify them. Another light that I'm for sure going to want, let me turn this on real quick and see how much of this light comes onto Arakagor's face from this position. I might do another one over here, or let me look at my camera. This is where it gets a bit tricky because we have to hide lights. We have to, this looks cool. We have to hide lights. You have to bounce light and try to get what you want. What I want to do, I'm just going to turn this on real quick. I just want to see something. Don't worry about the color or any of this right now. I just want to see if I can get this in here and hide it well enough to, we're not going to worry about how bright it is or any of that. I just want to see if I can hide this in here, or if I have to do another hidden. Oh shit, that looks great, man. Woo! Oh man, that's awesome. Totally hidden in there. I stinking love it, man. So let's think about, once again, I'm going to look through my camera and sort of see my composition and see where I think a light would benefit me back there, and just sort of get where I can hide it and it still produce a something that benefits the scene. You don't want to just put lights everywhere just to be putting lights everywhere. The light has to add something, some value to the set, some value to, you know, to the scene. Otherwise, what are you putting it there for? I'm going to set this down here and angle it up this way probably. Let me put another pin in there to hold that stuff down. Just something back there to separate this a little bit and give it a little bit more depth before it gets to the TV screen. And I may move that, I don't know, we'll see. But for now that's where it's going to go. Let me pin this stuff down here. All right. Now to the other fun stuff here. Let me turn this off so I don't waste batteries. So we've got lights, maybe more than I need, maybe less than I need, but probably about right. If you're using a television screen as part of your diode or part of your shot, first of all, I want to say that when I do this, I buy these images from Adobe stock. This doesn't make up any large part of my scene at all. It makes up usually maybe around like 10% or 15% or something like that at the most. It's just something to give depth behind a window or behind a doorway to show that I'm maybe shooting outside, or it gives depth to the scene, but it's not the star of the scene, and it shouldn't compete with my set. It's just there, subtle. You know it's there, and you would know if it wasn't. It would. So let me turn on my wireless trigger here. That's on. That's on. I know where I usually start with settings. Each shot is a bit different, but as far as shutter speed and stuff like that, the first thing I want to set here now Flash doesn't run on shutter speed. Flash, you know, I can change my shutter speed. I don't want to get into all that because that's more than this show is or than this little live is about. But Flash is in burst duration, how long the burst of flash is. So I can put this at 3 seconds, and it doesn't matter what my flash, it's not going to affect how bright my flash is at all. What affects flash is different. The shutter speed here that we're going to be doing is mainly for the benefit of the constant light sources that you need to leave your sensor exposed for a while for those constant light sources to register and to give you the exposure. So there are two different types of lights we're working with here, and so two different approaches have to work together: shutter speed and flash burst duration. So you have to find a balance in those and to create the lighting story, you know, that you want. So I don't know if you can see me. I'm just looking through my viewfinder real quick. Let me just get focus real quick, and I'll get focus a few times. And I'm thinking here, I'm at f32, way too stopped down. I'm thinking I have these figures pretty close together. I'm thinking f11 is a good place to start here. And I'm just going to make a couple setting changes in my camera from yesterday because I had some different settings that I want to use today, just because of the shot that I did yesterday. The figures were much farther apart. And anyway, we're going to start about 4 seconds. I'm going to do ISO 100, which is what I always do. My daylight balance is, you know, my color temp is always set to flash. Okay, so let me turn off one of my lights here, and I'm going to get and turn my flash on. Let me scoot out of the way and get all this stuff. Oh, it got dark. I want to bump stuff with my clumsy self. The reason I got focus first was because now, obviously, that it's dark, I wouldn't be able to get focus, and I manually focus. So always get focus, always recheck focus right before you're going to do your shot, because you never know what happens. So, okay, that being said, I'm just looking at my wireless trigger, and on my wireless, I'm just going to read off to you guys where I'm at with stuff, and we're going to take a shot and change this. You know, I'm at a half a second flash burst duration. And that means that the flash bursts for a half a second. And on a flash, there's the leading part of that half a second. If you can think about the time, the flash burst duration as an opening the gate is open, the gate is closing. There's a lead out, a maximum, climax of it, and then the gate is closing. So all that is happening within a half a second. So, and that's what I'm at now, half a second. I have no idea if what that's gonna look like right now, but I'm gonna take a shot and see what this looks like, and see if it's something I want to work with, and just to give me a visual reference of where I'm at right now. And I'm on 10-second timer. We'll go ahead and see what this does. See if it's hitting the TV. See if there's anything going on with it that I don't want it to do. And mostly see if it's bright enough. Okay. So let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to bump this flash burst duration just a little bit here. And matter of fact, instead of bumping the flash, another option that I have is I can bring the flash lower, bring the light source lower to the set, which another option that you have, you got a couple options actually. You can feather the light, say in this case, I want it brighter. I don't want to, bump the flash burst duration. I want to keep, I want to keep it at, quarter of a second for whatever reason. But it's not bright enough. I can lower the light, and that's going to make it brighter because it's more directly over the model. Also, you can make sure that your flash is centered on the model, or your light source in general is centered on the model. And here I'm using a flash, and so the brightest part of this is the center because that's where the flash is. It spreads out through the diffuser. There's 2 diffusers in there, and it creates a nice soft light over the scene. But the brightest part is always going to be the center. So if I lowered it and I centered it more on the figure, then I wouldn't have to change my flash settings. Or in this case, if I'm lazy, I could just change the flash settings. But if you look and see, so there's a couple ways that, like I say, you can modify light. Let me turn this modeling light on real quick and see what we're, let me move this guy back just a little bit. Probably right there, and that's going to change. Okay, let's try that. Let's see what we look like with that. Let me turn that back off, take the same shot, 10-second timer, and all I want to do here is I'm just looking at this one light out of all the lights, and I'm seeing that it's going to give me the brightness that I want on the set. All right, there's the end of the explosion. Let me take a look and see. Oh yeah, okay, so I can dig that. I see some hot spots. I'm not really worried about that just yet. So now the next light that I want to do is the lume cube. These two lights are working like as one light. So and the same thing. If I want it brighter, if say this was at its lowest setting and it was still too bright, I still have the option of feathering the light on the set. Look, watch Arachagor. Okay? See as I rotate the light. Let me see if you guys can actually see that. Oh yeah, you can see that. Okay, cool, right on. Anyway, so there's still blue light hitting Arachagor, even though this is facing darn near you guys. So that's what's called feathering the light. Okay, now there's nothing on him. Nothing that we can see, by the way, but the camera will pick it up, for sure. But so you can modify this light just by simply rotating it. Don't always have to use the power settings. When you reach the end of your power settings and you're like, man, it's still too bright, man, I'm far enough, I'm far enough away, try feathering the light. So anyway, these don't last long in battery. So now we're at a 4-second exposure. We're at F11. 4 seconds is pretty good. F11, we're stopped down all right. So let's just start off with a 20% power on this and see what we're looking like. And I'm not going to put it full on them. I'm going to feather it just a little bit. And what I'm looking for in this shot here is that I've got a nice balance of early morning, pre-golden hour, last part of the blue hour, real light blue sky, and that this blue light goes with this flash and it mixes and creates that one color temp. So let's take this shot and see what it looks like. It might look like crap, and we might need to adjust it, and that's okay. That's what we're doing. We're adjusting stuff right now. It's not a big deal. 4 seconds. We'll see if that's going to work for us here. Oh, man. Definitely. Oh, man, it looks really cool. Well, let's stay with that a little bit for right now. Let's just go with that. Now, in the spirit of saving batteries, because I tell you this lume cube panel does not last long. I'll set my lights and then I'll turn them off, and then I'll work each light, and I'll do it that way. Just because. So anyway, this light here, I was saying that I'm going to end up. I'm going to show you a trick here. Now I'm going to do it with the light on because I don't want to knock stuff over. That light is really close, and it's on its lowest setting. It's on its lowest setting right here, and it's way too close, and I know without a doubt it's gonna be way too hot. It's way too broad. I need to do a couple things. I need to soften it, and I need to narrow it down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this light around. I'll show you. I'm gonna turn it around, and then I'm gonna put, let's try this. Let's try this. Okay, I got a piece of foil. I don't want to say that too loud where I live. It's the ghetto. You got a piece of foil. That can only mean one thing in the area of town that I live in. So, got a piece of foil. And I've got some wire. Let's do this. This is going to be a whole lot easier. This wire I use here. My son works at Home Depot, so I have him bring it home for me. We buy it. Let me just state that. But it's rebar tie wire. It's rigid, and it's bendable by hand, and I use it to pose figures, and I use it like I'm going to show you here. Once I get my little snippers. I'm going to take and make a real quick, real small reflector to put light right where I want it. So, and this is going to be easiest because I can just tie it onto the C-stand. Let's just do something like this. Let me make sure I got enough length on this. So, you know, you've all put a mirror to the sunlight and try to blind somebody's face with it, right? When you were kids. Hopefully not as an adult, but as a kid you did that. So, same thing. We're going to take the sunlight and we're going to blind Hellfire Goblin with it. There we go. And I'm just going to create a little, like a little paddle with this because I'm too lazy to tape it and all that other stuff. So I'm going to create a little paddle here and just fan that out just a little bit. This is going to do a couple things. It's going to replace the idea for the V-board, and it's going to put the light just where I want it on Hellfire Goblin, and not have all that light spill. I might still need a little piece of tape right here. We'll see. So let's do this. Let's first of all get this kind of hawk. So can you see the benefit in that? Man, you can see the benefit in that. So what I'll do is I'll just double this over, and I'm still going to put a little piece of tape on here because my paddle is a little bit loose. Nobody wants a loose paddle. All right. And every shot has its own particular set of needs. There might be easier or better ways for you to do this, but this is actually a really good shot because it covers a variety of approaches and a variety of ways to remedy, you know, needs. Another reason I like the rebar tie wire is because, look, I can just twist it by hand. we're golden, man. We got a little paddle reflector. How incredible is that? Didn't have to give no money to Adorama. Who else? So let's go ahead and we're going to get this about where we think it's going to, about right in there. And we're at 4 seconds on the exposure. So that's going to be pretty good exposure to long enough shutter speed to register this reflected light onto Hellfire Goblin's face. Let's see. Let's get this on here in a way that I think it's gonna stay. That's good enough. Good enough. Well, get your butt there. Ah, tape. Well, I should be able to just tighten it on there with the. Let's see here. Let's do this. There we go. So, okay, let's take a shot with everything like it is. All the lights and everything are in the same position. Everything is there. Let me turn this light back on. The flash is already on, so we'll go ahead and snap a quick shot here and see if I'm on track. And if you're not, just look at why you're not on track and just make the adjustment. Okay, let me take a look through the camera. Holy moly. So I like this, but I would like more light in Hellfire Goblin's mouth because he's got a tongue in there and a lot of detail, but it looks really cool. But I'd like some more light in his mouth. And so in order to do that, I'm going to, let's see what I want to do. You know what? Let's bring this light a little bit lower. Where's my, let's see here. Okay, and all you'll do is, if you don't blind yourself with this, just look at his face right in there. That's it right there, baby. That's it. We got your tongue lit, player. All right, make sure I'm not in front of the lens with the light, because that would not be good. We're gonna have a lens hood on there ultimately. Oh yeah, let's take this shot again. And then I think we'll move on to the next light. And two, when I add the fog in here, it's going to brighten things up a bit. So we might still need to make a few final adjustments when we get closer to the last. Was that it? I didn't hear it finish, but I guess it did. Okay, I do have more light in his mouth. I could see the edge of the tongue. I could see the teeth for sure. Looks good. Definitely got some definition in there. I would see if I could go down just a little bit more though. I mean, these are the things that make me take forever, is these little stinking, I get locked in on some detail, and I'm the kind of guy that'll spin the house to change the light bulb if I think it's going to work better. If that makes sense, but I think we're good with that. Okay, now we've got another light under, so let me turn this off. I don't want to waste batteries. Next light I'm going to do is, well, once I turn this off. Next light I'm going to do is the light that's underneath Arachagor. And I'm going to turn my studio light on because I can't see. I don't want to knock stuff over. And actually, you know, let me see if this wall here is even, this wall isn't even in frame, isn't even in the shot. So to make it easier on myself, we'll just take this wall away. It's not even visible, serving no value. And this way I can, now this light here, I'm going to be really cautious with because it's going to be right under him, and I don't know how low this thing will go. This is that Ulanzi light, and I do want to do it with a little bit of an orange. So let me turn this way down as far as it'll go. since it's so close, I really am not going to be able to modify this one too much to get it, you know, other than the power settings on it, because it's right under him. We'll see what this setting does. Scooch a booty. There you go. Let me make sure it's still hidden, and then we'll take a shot with. It's perfect because Hellfire Goblin's lower extremities and the bricks that he's on top of hide it, and it looks really good. So anyway, let me go ahead and we'll see at this power setting what a 4-second exposure does with that, and we'll turn everything back on. Okay. Turn it all back on now. And we'll take this shot. I might rotate this just a little bit. There we go. Let's take this shot and see what that does to Arakagor's underside. Tiny, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. The Bronx Bat, what's up, buddy? Good to see you too, man. Good to see you. Okay, let's take a look and see what this shot does. God, it just glows on his metal so nicely on Arakagor. Oh, yeah, I like that. I could brighten that up more. You know what I could do? Ooh, man, I tell you what. So I'll move it out a little further from him, and I'll brighten it up just a little bit. Right here, and then I'll move it out without knocking everybody over. With my fat hands. Make sure it's still hit. Oh yeah, dude, that looks good. Let's take that shot and see if we're good on that. And if we're good on that, I got one light left to do, and we'll add some fog, and this shot will be done. But if you want to see the whole thing, I'm gonna put that on for my Patreon people. I gotta give them something special because they support me, man. and I totally appreciate it. Everybody supports me. I appreciate it. But those guys, oh yeah, I dig that, man. I love it. We're all good with this. Let me tie in this last light back here. And, oh, and you know what I got to do? I got to look at Arakagor's face. I got to make sure that his face is definitely, I wonder if I might put a, we'll see. We'll see what this, I might put a little, well, let's put a little orange gel. Can never have enough orange. Let's see here. And I'm just going to put this on the back side of him. He's in a fallen city chasing Hellfire Goblin. He might have knocked over some cauldrons, or he might have, no telling why. Let's raise this rascal up just a little bit. This is the other story of my life where I find stuff to prop stuff up on. This isn't in the frame, but you'll definitely be able to see it. Let's see. I want a little highlight maybe over here on that tail. This wall will hide it from the screen, kind of like a flag, so we'll be good with that. Brighten that up just a little bit. I'm not too worried about flagging and stuff because this is behind a bunch of objects, so it's kind of naturally flagged. Let me see what we got and see if I got enough light on Mr. Arakagor's face. I want you to be able to connect with him. Okay, focus one more time on Hellfire Goblin's eye. Make sure everything's good. What is right there? I'm seeing something there. Okay, let's take this shot. See what we got. Sometimes I leave stuff in frame and I don't mean to. Don't want the paintbrush. Okay, 4 seconds. And if this looks good, then I'll introduce some fog. I'll rotate, I'll get my CPL. I gotta look at the background to make sure the CPL, the background is looking good with the CPL on there. I think we're good with that. I need to brighten that background up a little bit, and I'm just gonna do that by rotating my circular polarizer. And last little thing here, I think I would like a little bit more It's hard to see with all the lights in my eyeballs, my old eyes. We'll kind of cup that, just to put like a little cup in it to get all the light back on him. And whoops, wrong button. Let's try that. Okay. Let's take a shot and let me see the background. Let's see the adjustment I just made to Hellfire Goblin. And then if everything looks good, then I'll put some fog on this. Here I'm just tying in the screen, making sure everything still looks, is going to match the set. I don't want the screen to be too bright or the screen to be too dark, and it looks like, you know, I shot it in front of a screen. So that's what the CPL is doing right here. I think we're looking pretty good with that. Honestly, I think we're looking pretty good. Let's put a little fog. Oh man, I like this. I like it. Okay, we got focus on his eye. We're golden, man. Let's put some fog on this. Put my lens hood on there. All right. We don't really want to put fog under Hellfire Goblin because it's going to obscure his face. But we definitely want a little fog back here. Let's take this shot. Four seconds, so I'll smooth that fog out a little bit, even though we got flash. Let's take a look at that shot and see if the fog brightened anything up beyond into oblivion. All right. Well, hey, that's the video on how I shot this, and it's a continuation of, you know, a combination of what I did on the Instagram Live as well as recording for the Patreon members. I think the shot turned out pretty well. I think I could have stopped the aperture down a little bit more and got the dragon a little bit more in focus and not so much, you know, separation with the depth of field. But it's still a good looking shot. Camera left, his hand could have been in frame a little bit more. Those are little things you miss sometimes. But there's always something that, you know, you want to go back and adjust. But we got a good looking shot, and I had a fun time creating this and setting it up and explaining to you the process. I hope you found some value in this. To my Patreon members, thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate all your patience and all the willingness to support and be a part of, you know, what it is I do, and commune with me in that regard, in a hobby and craft that we all share. If you're watching this on YouTube later when it gets posted, then please consider joining my Patreon and supporting me and taking advantage of cool videos and tips and setups and things like this here. And just a fun time in toy photography and diorama making and 3D printing and stuff like that. So at any rate, you guys take care. Check out my website, insightfulimagery.com, my TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. It's all Insightful Imagery. Instagram is insightful_imagery. And who knows if I'll be on TikTok, because who knows if that's going to be there. So, but I'm there now. So check it out. You guys take care.